At the start of 2025, New York State Legislature passed an amendment expanding the 2022 Warehouse Worker Protection Act. This new amendment, which comes into effect on June 1st, 2025, requires employers to implement an injury reduction program aimed at identifying and minimizing the work-related risk of musculoskeletal disorders among workers. Today, on the Briotix Health Spotlight, we are joined by ergonomic experts Stacey Schreiber and Amy Clark as they give us perspective on what workplace regulatory changes can look like for employers, how to stay ahead of regulatory changes, and the real value of injury prevention programs today. Amy, Stacey, thank you so much for joining me today on the Spotlight. I'm really excited to talk to you both about some of these upcoming changes in New York and kind of what that means for companies, what that will look like for injury prevention programs. But before we dive into that, I would love to hear more, and I'm sure those folks who are listening would love to hear more about your backgrounds, how you came to be with Briotix, and what you're currently doing with us.
Sounds great. Maybe I'll go first.
Sounds wonderful.
So I'm Amy Clark, and I've been with Briotix Health for 15 years. My background is I'm a physical therapist and ergonomist, and I have served with Briotix Health in the capacity of industrial sports medicine, job analysis work, ergonomics consulting, and I currently serve as a program manager for ergonomics, and that is my background.
I'm Stacey Schreiber. I've been an athletic trainer for 24 years, and I've been with Briotix for a little over 6 years now as part of the ergonomics team as a project manager. And I work with many clients on site as well as consulting off site.
I mean, that's wonderful. You definitely both have a little bit more experience than me in ergonomics. So I'm excited to get some of your perspective here today, learn a little bit more about what's going on and how we can improve injury prevention programs for everyone. So from that perspective of ergonomics, industrial sports medicine, and workplace wellness, what can employers do to be proactive when there are upcoming changes in workplace regulations?
Well, Matthew, I would say that employers should become familiar with compliance regulations and changes and how they may impact their own businesses. There's a lot of fine detail with some of the regulations that come out. They're state by state basis and vary depending on where business is conducted. So employers should, at a minimum, become familiar with upcoming changes and when they are released, what the details are and how they are impacted by them. And then I will also note Briotix Health can help with that. So we're here to serve to help interpret and support our clients through any needed transitions or program bolstering.
I know that just in the conversations we've been having in the past few weeks about this specific law, the New York Warehouse Worker Injury Reduction Program, we've had many, many conversations going over the intricate details of this, how it will affect programs, and our ergonomists are really focused on getting those changes ready and prepared for anything that comes. So working with a partner is really essential in these moments. When new laws are introduced, what does that look like for a workplace? From not only that high level ergonomics as a whole perspective, but from the program perspective as well. Are costs increased? Do whole jobs need to change? Are there new jobs created?
I think I could speak for the first part of that. If you have a team like Briotix or another ergonomics team with providers on site, you most likely are already fulfilling all those checklists for the laws that need to be in place. I think Amy could probably speak more on costs.
Yeah, so depending on the compliances and regulations, sometimes there are changes that are needed to the formatting of jobs. I'm looking at a set of jobs. Some of them would be slightly reconfigured to accommodate a new compliance. Perhaps the job analyses that are on file for an employer need to be reviewed and updated as a result of new compliances. One of the things ergonomics strives to do is to reduce cost. and so, we're constantly moving forward in an effort to support our clients with maintaining current costs or reducing them in light of regulatory compliances. So we do offer consulting in that realm. But yes, it's certainly reasonable to think that with drastic new regulatory compliances, job reconfiguration may need to be considered.
Absolutely. With training and injury prevention programs being implemented in a lot of workplaces today. What key elements are companies missing out on? What's that kind of difference that helps certain injury prevention programs stand above others?
I think in a lot of cases, we do the stretches, we take care of those who sustain an injury on site, perhaps, but we forget about the steps before that. And that's the ergonomic perspective. And that's looking at a workstation, maybe changing something up, adding an engineering control, maybe a management control. We could all do our stretches, but taking that step before that is really going to prevent those injuries.
Yeah, and maybe I'll add a little bit more to what Stacey said. Often when we look at employee trainings, sometimes what's missing is a repetition or a frequency of training for employees so that they do actually understand the concepts of ergonomics and they can be part of the process, proactively part of the ergonomics process. So often we'll help our clients move toward a more interactive and consistent training program.
How can we improve employee health to keep up and improve on regulations, both state and national, so that when things like this come up, our companies are already ahead of the curve? I know we mentioned at the very beginning, clients that are working with Briotix Health probably already have most of these things covered in their programs. So what are those things that are being done that are staying ahead of these regulations that are coming out?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we can do is to keep watch on some of those key regulatory agencies, right? OSHA, keep an eye out on upcoming laws that are coming down. And the other thing that comes to mind is we can work very closely with our safety management teams within our clients, health and safety, and then our engineering teams at our client sites as well. So everybody has eyes on what might be coming down the pike, whether it's a change or a new regulation altogether.
And for a company that sees investment beyond those absolute safety requirements, those OSHA regulations, state compliances, things along those lines as unneeded, what are the benefits of a really robust injury prevention program that goes above and beyond those needs?
I think for a company that sees investment beyond absolute safety, you really see that injury rate go down. If someone comes in and they've got injured over the weekend, it's not work related, it's going to carry over into the workforce. So having a provider on site is going to keep those people healthy, whether their injury occurred at work or at home, and that's going to increase production and decrease those lost days of work.
Yeah, and just a little addition. Part of what we look at when we're working with our clients is what we call leading indicators. A leading indicator means there's a sign or signal out there for us that an injury may be looming or there may be something potentially risky, and we address it before an injury occurs. That's as opposed to lagging indicators where we just look at injury records and how did this happen and try and talk about how to prevent it in the future. So these leading indicators are really part of a robust injury prevention program. How can we look at where does that ergonomic risk lie? Can we perform ergonomic assessments in key areas that we think are drivers, or look at workstations where we think we can make some improvements and some recommendations for prevention? And that's where we get really robust with our programs.
If you were to give one injury prevention tip, one thing someone can just grab from this and take away, bring back to their workplace, what would it be?
I always say that if an employee feels like something is bothering them, it hurts, and they say to themselves, "Oh, let me just see if it gets better on its own." That is the one time that they should go and find out what's wrong. Go report it and get it taken care of because it's not going to get better on its own, but it can get better in a few days instead of it turning into weeks or months.
Yeah, good one, Stacey. I really lean toward encouraging company management to have an employee-centric culture where they are considering the employee and allowing for employee input into their safety and ergonomics programs. We've seen this time and time again. So groups of employees have a much stronger safety culture and ergonomics culture when they have the opportunity to have a voice and be involved in the process.
Well, Stacey, Amy, thank you so much for jumping on today, giving us a little bit about your insight into injury prevention, ergonomics, and what workplace wellness looks like today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Spotlight, and I really hope to talk to you both soon.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having us. Thank you, Matthew.